What's good, y'all? I'm about to react to this Twitter post that I seen on MCU's direct page, and they have the stories of the MCU's greatest villains have not been fully told. Here's are the 10 Marvel villains who deserve their own prequel solo movie. Thanos, Winyu, Malachi, Dorminu. Really, Thanos is the only one on this list who deserve a movie, dude. The only dude to be a whole squad of Avengers by himself, to go to another planet, defeat, really get rid of, actually, really was actually Star Lord's fault for him to not getting the glove off. They almost defeated Thanos, but he got big head because Thanos killed Gamora, which was his daughter, but he had to get the Soul Stone. And Peter Quill, Star Lord thought he just killed Gamora by accident, by on purpose, for him to like become powerful than he was. But Thanos, Gamora really was Thanos' father, and that whole storyline what they was telling. But let me see how this list of how they got these characters that was the villains in these past Marvel movies. Okay. 10 MCU villains who deserve their own prequel movie. Okay, let's read the first one. Thanos, definitely, man. One of my favorite villains of all time. Shoot, bro. One of my favorite of all time. Shit, he might be top one villain, honestly. The first appearance, the Avengers 2012 mid-credit scene. I never knew he was in Avengers mid-credit scene. That's how long they was building up Thanos, dude. And I had to go back and look at it because I done forgot they was building up. But, dad, dude, I never knew he was. Because I remember he was in Avengers Age of Ultron post-credit scene. And then Avengers Infinity War came. I don't think he was in Thor Ragnarok post credit scene. I think that was after Asgard was done, and then they I think Thanos and his squad came on like um Thor's like battleship or something like that, and then Loki was there. And Loki got cleaned up by Thanos. Thanos just snapped his neck and it was over with. Why Thanos deserves a prequel. While the Infinity Saga built up his ultimate plan, Thanos' backstory, his life on his doomed home world of Titan, was only revealed in brief, powerful flashbacks in Avengers Infinity War. A prequel film could explore Titan's decline in detail, showing the political and environmental factors that led to the societal collapse he predicted. It would transform his horrifying snap from a simple act of evil into a tragic climax of an unwavering conviction. The film would focus on his early life as a Cassandra Light figure, his exile, and the brutal cosmic conquest that forged him into the Mad Titan before he even began collecting the Infinity Stones. A prequel would flesh out his evolution from a concerned citizen to a mass murdering zealot, deeply his already compelling presence. I ain't gonna lie, this dude was like Thanos. He really was like a cool, calm, collected villain, dude. He was evil though. I ain't gonna lie. Once he murdered all of Gamora's people on that planet she was on, I was like, Dad, this dude was heartless, dude. And that's how Gamora became the daughter of Thanos. I was like, okay. But I would like to learn more about Thanos' plan of how he became the cool, calm, collected villain as Thanos, dude. I would love to more about that dude, man. I ain't gonna lie, he really became one of my favorite villains, dude. And to get rid of Avengers like that, dude, who does that? Loki couldn't do that. Ultron couldn't do that. I mean, it's Thanos, dude. Thanos Infinity War, he really got rid of them Avengers. Like some of them. And most got half. he wiped the whole half of the planet away just with a snap of his fingers, dude. Like that was kind of interesting, dude. But I also want to know like how he can get like everybody like wiped out everybody. Why did he only have to do like a half? Maybe he really had to get like an ultimate powerful force to get rid of those other people. I never understood like the all that during Infinity War. But that ain't gonna lie, and he was just chilling like on another planet, like man, I actually did it. I actually conquered of what I was gonna say to do, and he was just so chill about it, so calm about it. So that's why I like Thanos so much, dude. And the dude is big and fast too. Once he got the Hulk up out of it, I was like, yo, this dude is different, dude. I'm liking this dude. And the Hulk came and transformed back because he was so scared of Thanos. Like, man, they could have brought the Hulk back, but they actually did a smart Hulk. Like, that was kind of cool to see, but it was kind of corny, though. They making fun of the Hulk. But, man, I hope we see that savage Hulk again to face Thanos. I really want to see that angry Hulk again. Just fight Thanos again. I would love to see that. So, we got Hela. Thor Ragnarok 2017. Yeah, I say 2020. No, I said 2017. Hella, she really, I ain't gonna lie, probably the coolest moment she ever had for me was she destroyed Myrna with a palm of her hand. I was like, okay, damn, so this is the sister of Loki and Thor acting like this? I mean, like, wow. She done got rid of Myrna and Thor, he didn't really know. He really had nothing. He just had electricity. And he had Stormbreaker. Group gave him Stormbreaker in Avengers Infinity War. And that was one of the coolest Thor scenes for him to come back and crash down to Wakanda. Just take some of Thanos' army out. That was pretty cool scene right there. But my favorite scene probably hella her just destroying Mjolnir, Thor's hammer. Why she deserves a prequel? I don't think she deserves a prequel, but she was cool though. She was okay. As the firstborn of Odin, as the original goddess of death, Hela offers a direct window into the darker, more brutal history of Asgard that Odin famously hid. Her prequel film could be a sprawling war epic depicting her as Odin's loyal, bloodthirsty enforcer during the Viking age of conquest laid waste to the Nine Realms and beyond. Viewers could witness the campaign that led to her eventual imprisonment the moment her lust for power became too great for even Odin to tolerate, the forging of her formidable Necro sword, and her battles with ancient world-ending threats. This narrative would not only give Hela the screen time her immense power once, but also dramatically contextualize the entire history of Asgard as a peaceful kingdom built among a foundation of genocide and conquest. I don't think she needs her own prequel. Winnu the Mandarin, I don't see him getting his own prequel. Even though he did give a good fight scene against Shang-Chi. That was a pretty good fight scene. I like the fight scenes in Quan-Chi, the Legend of the Ten Rings. I liked all the fight scenes. It was a pretty good movie to me. I'd like to see a second movie of this. Why he deserves a prequel. Windu is arguably the longest lived and most historically influential villain in the MCU. Really? They never showed that in that movie. Having wielded the Ten Rings for over 1,000 years, a prequel would be an epic generational saga that explores the full scope of his immortality, ambition, and global impact. We could see the Ten Rings organization evolve from a small, unstoppable army into a global crime syndicate influencing world events from the medieval period through the modern day. The film could detail his early conquests. He eventually attempts to retire his initial tumultuous romance with Yang Li and the numerous heroes or ancient masters he had to overcome to maintain his dominance, providing a comprehensive history of the Ten Rings. Dormammu. Nah, Dormammu, he don't need his own prequel. I ain't gonna lie, Doctor Strange, he was toying with that dude, man. He was playing with his food with that dude, man. Like, come on, nah. He really don't need his prequel. And they really didn't show him much in Doctor Strange movie, the first one. While he deserves a prequel, Dormammu as a literal interdimension force of nature, the ruler of the dark dimension, a being whose hunger consumes entire realities, while his appearance in Doctor Strange was visually stunning. It was a brief and focus on the defeat Thor and trickery. I thought this dude was like a Galactus, cause he was like more of the presence of like a Galactus that was trying to do. Like he had the whole face, like kind of helmet, the voice, the appearance, even the color on him. Like he had like a purple with the eyes. You'll see like Galactus with his cosmic eyes in Fantastic Four movie, the recent movie. But I thought this dude was like a Galactus, like a celestial Galactus to me. A prequel wouldn't need a linear narrative but could be a visually ambitious non-horror film that explores the dark dimension itself and detail how Dormammu came to rule it and how he corrupted, consumed, or banished other beings from different realities. This film could also explore his attempts to breach other dimensions, showcase his influence over the beings and his methods of offering dark power in exchange for worlds, and set him up as a cosmic terror on an imaginable scale. He really wasn't terror, dude. I thought he really could defeat Doctor Strange, but he did multiple times. But Doctor Strange, he was using his spell to bring him back constantly. And he was like, "What? How's you doing this?" and stuff like that. Like he really wasn't a terror fate to Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange was playing with his food with that dude, man. Ronan the Accuser. Nah. Really, the least franchise for me would be Guardians of the Galaxy. I really never cared about that squad like that. Even though Batista, he really was my favorite because he really is one of my favorite wrestlers in WWE. Watching him to play Drax, though, he really is my favorite character out of all of them. But I really could care less about that squad except for Batista as Drax, though. Guardians of the Galaxy 2020. Why he deserves a prequel. Ronan is introduced as the fanatically Kree extremist obsessed with the destruction of the following a peace treaty with the Kree Empire. Prequel could be a political war drama detailing the events of the Kree War, which lasted for 1,000 years. It will show Ronan as a decorated, ruthless Kree warrior who saw his people's cultural integrity being sacrificed for a fragile peace. This film could explore the trauma of the war, the betrayal he felt upon the signing of the treaty, and the moment he broke away from the Kree Empire to become the radical extremist, justifying his hatred and his desire for vengeance against Xander. This would give the final act of Defiance as much greater emotional weight. He really wasn't a threat to the Guardians of the Galaxy, dude. I remember that scene watching back, even looking at highlights of how the Guardians of the Galaxy, they was using the Power Stone against that dude, and none like the Guardians of the Galaxy was like fading away like Thanos snap. But this dude really wasn't a threat like that. He really wasn't like a powerful villain that I seen with a Power Stone in his hand. But all the Guardians of the Galaxy, well, probably only Star-Lord, he probably the only human, and he could just absorb the Power Stone. Cause I think he had like some other power that they showed in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 that his father was like some type of powerful being, and he was like some powerful being. I was like, okay, that kind of don't make sense for the Star-Lord, but it is what it is. They did with that. But Guardians of the Galaxy would be my least franchise that I really care about, except for Batista as Drax. Barring Mardo. He was a good actor. This dude is a good actor as Barmardo, but Barmardo, he really wasn't like a threat for like Doctor Strange to fight. He was like just a partner for Doctor Strange to be with. He can fight up, but he really don't match against Doctor Strange dude like that. But I don't think he deserves a prequel. Why he deserves a prequel? The eventual villain arc of Carl Mordo, who survived Thanos' snap. Oh, they really never showed that. They never showed he survived the snap. Huh? But he really was like a villain in the second one, Doctor Strange Multiverse. But he really wasn't like a villain like that in the first one. As I remembered. I don't think he was seated throughout Doctor Strange, but his delusionalment with the mystic arts was only fully realized in the post-credits scene. A prequel could delved into his life before Kamar Taj spawned what led a man of discipline and immense martial skill to seek out the mystic arts in the first place. I also thought Bar Mardo was like more of like Wong, like Doctor Strange partner, like his sorcerer partner. Cause I really don't see Bar Mardo as a sorcerer, but he was kind of just like Wanda. So Wanda's a sorcerer, but he really don't need his own prequel to me. I don't see him giving his prequel. More importantly, he could focus more on his time before Stephen Strange arrived, showcasing his face from the Ancient One and devastating gradual realization of her in ethical compromises. This film will tragically be a true believer whose devotion is shattered, leading him down to a path of radical where he attempts to fix a system he sees as fundamentally corrupt. Justin Hammer. This dude really? Nah, dude. He really was my favorite Iron Man 2, though. But I like Whiplash and Iron Man 2. Whiplash and Iron Man 2 was pretty cool, dude. Like, he had, like, the lifesaver type of stuff he had with him. That was pretty cool, dude. That was a pretty cool villain for Iron Man 2. Then he turned around. Iron Man 2 villain had, like, the Iron Man big suit they had in the first one when Tony Stark went up against his first villain. He did though. But why he deserved a prequel as a comedic but capable counterpart to Tony Stark's Justin Hammer ambition and spectacular failures offer a great premise for a cooperative espionage comedy drama. Wow, I knew how to say that E word. A prequel wouldn't need a epic scope. Instead, it could focus on his aggressive, morally flexible rise as a head of Hammer Industries. The film could depict his cutthroat business practices, his attempts to steal intellectual property, and his decades-long pathetic envy of Stark Industries. It would be a story about a desperate, charismatic businessman trying to prove himself in a world dominated by genius, showcasing his shady dealings with various global contractors and the moments that led him to collaborate with the dangerous Ivan Vanka and man too. So that must have been Ivan Vanka must have been Tony Stark villain in Iron Man 2. I like that villain. I didn't like this. This dude really wasn't a favorite, to be honest. Justin Henry really wasn't. If we probably would see him in an Iron Man suit, that still wouldn't have made a difference for me being my favorite. But I did like the villain from Iron Man 2, honestly. The leader, Samuel Stearns, like same thing as Hammer, like same dude from Iron Man 2, like Justin Hammer and come on phone. I know you overheating right now, but deal with me. And the lead Samuel Stearns, like they had like both like had human roles. Honestly, they really wasn't like favorites like that. And I did love the Hulk 2008 movie. I love that movie. I liked that movie, but him being as there, I think he's supposed to been like the big headed type villain they was gonna do to him. But he did come back in Captain America: The Brave New World movie, as he looked like demonic with his eyes and his whole face messed up from that incident. But it's cool to see him back, but he really wasn't a favorite in Captain America Brave New World or in the Incredible Hulk 2008 movie, just for me. Just my opinion. While he deserves a prequel, Samuel Stern's transformation to the super intelligent villain, the leader, was teased in the brief scene in the Incredible Hulk and later introduced in Captain America Brave New World has history. Right, for a mad scientist thriller, his prequel could explore his life as an unappreciated brilliant academy when almost biological need to be reconciled. I ain't gonna lie, they probably would treat that dude the same as they did with Nick Fury. Nick Fury really didn't need his own show, like the Secret Invasion, and yeah, that project was horrible, dude. That was a horrible Nick Fury project they was trying to do. They probably would have did the same thing to this dude right here called the leader. Probably gave him the same thing. Yeah. Nah, this dude, he really don't need his prequel. This film could follow his work in desperate attempts to cure Bruce Banner while secretly experimenting on himself, leading to the fusion of gamma radiation that granted him his massive world-class intellect, but outright warped his mind. Nah, he didn't need his own prequel. Same thing with this dude right here, Dracoff. I really didn't care about this dude, even though he really was like the villain, but like leading like I guess of like mean soldiers that he really created. Black Widow, I guess in her movie. I guess that's of how he did it. I guess he tried to like to control like mean like Black Widow agents, try to be just like Black Widow, but Black Widow seen behind his foolishness and she got rid of him. Okay, why he deserves a prequel as the architect of the Red Room. Yeah, Red Room like Black Widow soldiers. The brutal, shadowy program that turns young girls into deadly assassins known as widows. Draco is a chilling villain whose backstory represents the darkest side of the Cold War era espionage. A prequel would be gritty, spy, thriller, detailing the founding and expansion of the Red Room. It could show his rise with Soviet military intelligence, initial philosophy, justification for creating the windows as necessary tools, and his ultimate moral corporation that lead to his becoming a sadistic, controlling warlord. The film could also explore his relationship with early Black Widows and a political maneuver required to keep his horrifying operation secret from the world's superpowers. Nah, that would kind of be boring, honestly. Because he really wasn't a favorite for me. He just was the villain of just manipulating Black Widow soldiers into a red room. Okay, Malachi. Malachi was pretty cool in Thor the Dark World, though. But it kind of showed he was weak, though. I ain't gonna lie. Even though Jane did have his power, but she really showed she was stronger than he was with his own power. And Thor and Loki, they got rid of this dude. But he wasn't a bad villain. He wasn't my favorite in that movie. But I just like Thor and Loki in that movie. Thor the Dark World. Why he deserves a prequel. Malachi, the leader of the Dark Elves, a character almost played by a famous MCU star, and his quest to plunge the universe into eternal darkness was the central conflict of Thor the Dark World. And honestly, it really would be a lot of people's least Thor movie, like not their favorite. I like Thor the Dark World though. But it kind of really didn't show Malachi as a stronger villain for Thor, even though Thor got rid of him easily. Thor and Loki got rid of him easily. However, he suffered from a shallow characterization. A prequel could be an ancient epic fantasy, the war between the Dark Elves and the Asgardian thousands of years prior. It could reveal the deep-seated grievances of the Dark Elves who were fighting a war of survival against Bor, Odin's father. The film could explore the cultural history of showing Malachi's initial nobility, his devotion to his people, and the tragic circumstances of his race near extinction, which led to his maniacal, all-consuming desire to use the ether, the reality stone of the universal destruction. That's it from there. And Malachi he was cool though, but not my favorite villain from Thor though. But I really didn't like Thor villains that as much as like Iron Man. I kind of like all the Iron Man villains, especially the one from Iron Man 3. That was really my favorite one. Um, Cause it really fit how Iron Man, like you'll see like the Iron Man suits can explode and they, like a human body with fire probably can have that same experience of how they was doing it with him. But that kind of had like the same, like his villain had the same outcome as he can do with like Iron Man suits in a way like that. Cause yeah, I like the whole Iron Man franchise too. And Captain America, not so much. I read his first move was like more grounded, more about him. But I like his second move. Winter Soldier was my favorite one. I had that one. Then Brave New World really destroyed that whole franchise with him. Sam Wilson being Captain America. I think Bucky should have been Captain America, just in my opinion. Because you want to have, at least he was his best friend. I would like to see his best friend have that same power that he had as Captain America. That would have been a more believable storyline. But I really like Iron Man 3 villain, Winter Soldier, and Captain America. I really like none of Thor's villains like that. Probably I would say was my favorite Thor villain would probably been Malachi. I think they had the ice giants in his first Thor movie. I got who was in Ragnarok? Oh, Hela. She was pretty cool. She had only one cool scene. She destroyed a hammer with Manor. That was pretty cool though. But the only one I see who on this list deserves it, Thanos, dude. I would love to see a Thanos project being made, dude. I just love this character. I love the whole development of Thanos. I like even get more development, like how he was like a little kid. What was his planet like of how everything went to chaos and he just became this evil villain, chill, calm, cool, collected dude. I just like this dude. How he big and strong and fast, dude. Like, it's everything that it's like, man, it's everything that I like to see in a bigger villain that I want to see. But I would love to see a Thanos prequel. I would love to see that, man. But I'm gonna leave it off right here. Don't forget the running views up for your boy, and I catch y'all